You are tuned in to What a Baltimore Online Radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed are of the host and not of Lady J Media. Thank you and enjoy the show. Thank you for joining Mental Wellness Coaching with DWendell. Your session begins right now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I apologize. We are a little bit late this morning getting started. It is 190% on me for what happened. I lost track of time a little bit, and here I am. So thank you for being patient, and thank you for being here. Welcome to Mental Wellness Coaching. Not mental illness, mental wellness coaching, where we connect the heart and the heart and the mind for your well-being. You can achieve optimum mental wellness, mental health, optimum. It's just a matter of shifting your focus a little bit. Please reach out and call or ask any questions. The number is across the screen for calling in and asking questions. My cell phone is 240-626-6849. The email is heartmindconnection@icloud.com. Let's get right into it this afternoon. We are going to be talking about 6 words today. 6 words. The first 3 are hurry, noise, and crowds. Hurry, noise, and crowds. The second 3 are reflect, relate, and release. Reflect, relate, and release. I'd like for you, if you are in a position, to get a piece of paper. I'm going to do it with you. Get a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, I want you to draw a line down the middle. Even if you have to turn it sideways, like I did with my paper. Draw a line down the middle. And what we're going to do, ink pen doesn't work. Sometimes the things you pick up that's supposed to assist you are more work to get going. Anyway, I want you to look at this as a ledger. Once you draw the line down the middle, draw another line across like that. Okay? On one side, I want you to write keep. K-E-E-P, keep. And on the other side, I want you to write the word release. We're going to keep on one side of the ledger and release on the other. Now, we were saying last week, I asked you to remember or recall 5 things that you know about yourself. 5 gifts that you've been gifted with. 5. Whatever those 5 are, you're smart, you're intelligent. Hello, Sister Angela Johnson. Good to see you. Good to see you here. The 5 things. What are 5 gifts that you've been gifted, blessed with? You're a happy person. You're a determined person. You're a focused person. Whatever those 5 things are, those are key things for your life. Key elements of your life. Now we go further. want to describe to you the first set of words: hurry, noise, and crowd. Remember, from the day you were born, as it were. Stay with me. You were born a genius. I'll say it again. God gifted you with geniusness. And as an example of your geniusness, you learn to walk, you learn to crawl, you learn to communicate, crying, talking, whatever. These things God gifted you with, which was the natural order of progression. So you were a genius. The Bible says, now, the way I operate here, we talk about your being connected to your power source. Where does your power come from? Where does your power come from? For myself, and as far as this is concerned, we accept the Bible as our reading material for our power source. The Bible is not about religion. I'm not teaching you to be a good Baptist, a good Catholic, a good anything, a good Methodist. That has nothing to do with it. The Bible talks about the source of power, which is, with the Bible, it is about Jesus and what he did in coming here. Again, it's not about religion. It is about connecting with that power source. Because once you connect with the power source, then according to the Bible says you can do all things through the power source. Okay, so it's about being connected with that power source. Let's go on. There's a mindset that we get, that we develop, that we learn. Now, I'm going to take you back historically a little bit. School, high school, at the time, when I graduated from high school, they had just started, they had just began integration, where they shut most of the majority of the black schools down, and we had to be bused and whatever. Before the integration period happened, all the textbooks that we would get were used textbooks. The textbooks had been used by another class of people, and I can't specifically say they were this or that, but there were other names written in the textbook, and we had to scratch out, their names and put our names there. And so this was part of the indoctrination. And so we began to think and believe that there was another group of people that are smarter than us, better than us, and all this sort of thing. So doesn't it amaze you to a degree when we think about my grandparents and their parents, all the inventions and people reading by candlelight, the inventions, the electric light bulb, the telephone, the architecture of the capital, D.C. People did this with limited resources as we have today. So when the shift happened, whatever, integration, however you want to call it, I'm going to stay there for a little bit. Because when we had black communities, in those communities, we had pretty much everything that we needed. There was the corner grocery store where we could walk down to the corner grocery store because it was in the neighborhood. We would walk down to the corner grocery store and we said, Mama said, give me a pound of sugar or a loaf of bread and put it on the books. And now they would, and we would come home with the bread, the sugar, whatever the case may have been, and mom and them would pay them uh, next week or whenever they got paid, however that worked out. Well, as I mentioned, back then people used to run numbers. I'm not saying numbers are good or anything like that, but I am saying that when certain sects got a hold of the SECTS, got a hold of the fact that we were doing it, then they came in and they did away with that. They said running numbers or playing numbers is illegal. Years down the road, though, they came out with the lottery, the lotto, and people buying tickets left and right. $1, $100. I met a gentleman some years back that said he spent $100 every week on lottery tickets. Now, had he won, that's neither here nor there. So I'm saying, so when someone realized that we needed to be with another group of people because they were smarter, then they shut down everything that helped us to function and be better. We were more creative. We were more social. We interacted with each other better. Now it's such a excuse me one second. Now it is such um, now it is such a we're antisocial. We're not social. We don't interact well with each other. Certain cities, certain places have this mentality, this crab-like mentality of pulling each other down. Um, I was in Maryland. I was in Virginia for a period of time. I've traveled to other places, and I found something that's national. It's all across the country. And you tell me if you agree with this. There are there's an unwritten, unstated law that there are only going to be so many people that crack the ceiling and get through. There are only going to be so many. I don't know the number. Let me tell you something that somebody made me aware of. And you tell me if I'm wrong. There's a young lady that graduated from medical school. She had completed all the course requirements, spent her 4, 6, 8 years, whatever it takes, beyond undergrad and went into medical school, got accepted and everything. But she cannot at this point practice medicine because she cannot find a place to do her residency. Without the residency, which permits you to take the license and do whatever you need to do, um, she can't practice. So I'm saying, excuse me, whether it's right or wrong, I am saying we must recognize that when we buy into an alternative system of doing things and accepting that they have the answers, whoever the they are, we'll talk about that. I'm going to ask Charlene that we talk about who the they are. You hear people use it, pay attention, you hear people use the word they all the time. They locked me up. They took this away. They're not giving me my just due. They let me know. We use they a lot. So someday we're gonna have to talk about who the they are. Now, what have we been indoctrinated to? What have we been taught on the left side of this ledger that I have that this is the things that we're gonna keep? What have we been indoctrinated and are being taught to do? The three words are hurry, noise, and crowds. We we're indoctrinated to hurry up to do something. Hurry up and get it done. When I was in the Marine Corps, we used to have the expression "hurry up and wait." Hurry up and wait. So we're in a hurry. People, you look on that, just sit back someday. Sometimes just sit back and watch people. I love watching people. Just sit back and watch people. And people are in general in a hurry. Hurry up to get this done. Hurry up to get that done. Hurry up to get here. Hurry up to get there. And when you're on the highway, because you're doing the speed limit or you're going kind of slow, people want to zip by you and get angry. Road rage, because you slowed them down. Back in the day, and I refer back. That's the first word, hurry. I refer back to the time when we would go out and ride our bicycles. I remember the time when we would be in school, and at lunchtime, at recess, we would go out and we would interact with each other and various other things. I understand now that in schools, that even some schools don't even have windows. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Bring me up to date. Bring me up to speed. Some schools don't even have windows. And lunchtime is like 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And it's all crowded. We're forced into crowds and situations. We're not outside. Let me ask you. Now, one game I never got the hang of. I could not do it. We had something, it was called a spinning top. A spinning top. It was a oval shaped top, and you had to wrap a string around it, and you released it, and it would spin. I never could get that thing. I'm telling my own. I never could get that thing to spin. I like it because it looked good spinning. Anyway, so we were playing games. The children interacted with each other. We interacted with each other. We talked, we communicated. I mean, we had our differences. That's the way it was. But our differences did not lead to anyone being stabbed up or shot up. Our differences did not lead to somebody calling some lady referring to another lady as the B word. And it just was not like that. Maybe that was the case in some parts of the country. But coming back, we've been indoctrinated. We've been taught, we've been trained, we've been educated to be in a hurry. Hurry up and do something. Hurry up. That's the first word, hurry. The second word was noise. We seem to love noise. 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 Like the noise. Everywhere we go, there's tons of noise. Someone was just saying the noise of the fire engines running, the ambulance and the fire engine, the noise at night of shots being fired, the noise of guns going off in the air, the noise of people fighting each other. Why? Why? What have you ever accomplished in the midst of noise? So the second word is noise. We have learned to like noise. The third word was crowd. Crowds. We love to be around crowds. We don't take a lot of time to just be with ourselves and with our.
Donnie, you have a caller.
Okay, who is the caller?
Hello,
caller.
hi, doctor. This is Angela Johnson. How are you, sir? I'd like to ask you a question about the things you were just saying about back in the day. I can relate to back in the day when they used to run numbers, go on the cotton fields, pick cotton and tobacco, and everything you said is true. So I want to know I would like to ask you a question. What is the greatest thing that you have experienced in your life and know that you are great at? That's my question to you. Hello?
I,
Can
I,
you hear me?
my greatest gift, I know that I'm good at, is
Yes.
listening to you.
Is meeting me?
Is listening to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um,
It's
I want to
just
ask.
Angela, Sister Angela, because and the point of
I don't have it. Uh, hold on. Hold on. There's a little lost connection. Hold on, sir. Hold on, please. Okay. Can you repeat what you said, sir?
I said, greatest gift I have is the ability to listen.
The ability to listen.
The ability.
Okay. Okay. I would like to ask you another question that's also related to back in the day and like before we were segregated. Um, how do you feel about back in the day when the slave master did what he did to women? And it's leading up to what's going on today, like sex trafficking, rape, and it's okay. Can I just ask you that question, sir?
You can. And the answer for that is that the slave master had a particular mindset.
Okay.
Slavery was more about domination, control.
Okay. Yes.
So because they
Okay. Um, well, doctor, it was a pleasure for me calling in. On an appointment with my daughter, and I want to thank What's Up Baltimore. Thank you also, Lady J, for allowing me the privilege and time to get guys to listen to me. And doctor, I will call you afterwards, okay? All right, sir?
thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now I said we've adjusted our very being to being around noise. Yeah, and so much so that we think noise is normal. That noise, everything has to be noise. Noise, noise, noise. And if you will consider for a moment that it is during the time of solitude, not solitary, but solitude, that we're able to do our greatest communication, which we're going to talk about when we go to the other three words. The last word is crowd. When we're not sitting down on our PlayStations or whatever, we feel like a crowd is where we need to be. We need to be around a lot of people, a lot of influence, a lot of elbow rubbing, of, of, of a lot of crowdedness. That doesn't work very well. It does not incline itself to your discovering and unpacking your genius. Hear me. You are a genius. You were born a genius. You have you have you know one of the most natural things on this earth to do and have is love. Love is a natural outpouring of your inner being. We have to teach ourselves to hate. We have to teach ourselves. Think about it. Think about some of the people you say you hate because they've done something to you. They've taken something from you. They robbed you. that one of the big words that I learned is disrespect. I cannot be disrespected. How dare you disrespect me? How dare you treat me that way? Question, who are you? Who are you? The gift flows in a direction of love. So again, some of the things that we are now considering as natural are not natural. Love is natural. Hate is not. Okay? Um, Now, out of these words, out of the hurry, the noise, the crowd, there flows from that anger and frustration and disappointment. What is your what is your definition of disappointment? How does someone disappoint you? And the way that the definition I work best with is that disappointment is unfulfilled expectation. You've shared something with someone, you expect someone to do something, and when they don't do it, they disappoint you. They let you down, and now you're going to hold a grudge. I just think it's the strangest thing that when you're angry, when you hate someone, a deadly emotion, hate, anger, which leads to depression and anxiety. When you hate someone, when you hate someone or are disappointed with someone, you withhold your love from them rather than try to help them see how you were trying to do whatever you were doing. Rather than help them elevate their very existence, you're going to withhold what you know about love from them. Excuse me. How is that working for you? So again, those things, the hurry up, the noise, and the crowds, we get caught up in that and we label that as life normal. We label that as normal existence. All this stress out here, the stress, the stress of not meeting deadlines, the stress of someone says something to you negative about you on social media. It's overwhelming. Okay, let's take another step. So we move from those three words and we move across to the three words of reflect, relate, and release. Now, I have not forgotten the 5 things I asked you to write down as your talents and your gifts. As your talents and your gifts. Remember, let me take you back just a little bit. Remember, we said that every action that we take, everyone, begins first as a thought. It begins first as a thought. So we have to come to a point, a position, to where we think about what we are thinking about. That's the reflection part. Think about what you are thinking about. For example, if you are thinking about, and I'll use a simple example, if you're thinking about that man, that woman that cut you off in traffic this morning, she disrespected you by cutting you off in traffic. And it comes so many ways. I had a friend that whenever someone would cut off in traffic or slow down or not go fast enough, she would curse them out in the car. Curse them out. Call them all sorts. They couldn't hear her. Spoke herself up and cursed them out. Curse them out. Cursing them out. Using curse. So when you think about that, you're thinking about that. How does your body respond to that. So the reflection is to think about what you're thinking about. The second word, relate, is how do you relate to that? Once it comes up in your mind, in your thoughts, how do you relate? What do you do with it? Once it comes up, once the fact that this person cut you off in traffic, once the fact that I've heard about some teachers in certain schools at certain times making kids cut their hair or degrading kids or demeaning kids, all that sort of thing. And it makes the kid, the child, feel less than. So even as parents, when you reflect on these things, how do you relate to it? What do you do with it? Do you take it deeper into your spirit, into your very being? And I'll tell you what happens after you take it in. When you take it into your spirit, when you take it into your very being, your very existence, now you find yourself thinking about, we were talking last night about some people who've experienced sex trafficking and different abuses and domestic violence and things like that. In order, I shared this last evening, in order to hold a grudge, in order to be angry with someone, a part of you must remain down there on that level to be angry. So the very time you reflect and decide that you're going to hate someone, that you're not going to speak to someone, that you're not going to do this or do that or do this, the very time you decide that, a part of you must remain locked down with that thought. So you are not 100%. So when you go outside or you go to, question, what are some things you do that are pleasurable for you? Now please don't, natural things that you do that are pleasurable. Non-alcoholic, non-drug related, non-tree related. I'm not saying, I know there's medical marijuana, I'm not into all of that. And not knocking it one way or the other. But what do you do to slow yourself down at the end of an event, at the end of an argument, at the conclusion of a disagreement? What do you do? Or do you carry it around with you all day? Should you be of the mindset to carry it around with you all day, then you wonder, where does high blood pressure come from? Then you wonder, where is cancer coming from? Then you wonder, where is anxiety and depression? Understand, whatever emotion you go through or experience, your body pays the price for that experience. There are in your brain, when you release it from your mind and send it to your brain, because the brain is going to carry out the instruction that you give it. When you release it to your brain, the brain can form new pathways of thought in your brain, in your head. And with the new pathways of thought comes energy, comes certain chemicals that are released. This body that you have, hear me clearly, this body that you have, that God has given you, I talked about the 5 things that He's given you. This body that you have, according to the Bible, is marvelously, fearfully, and wonderfully made. Your body has the ability to heal and recover itself because it's built in. So the 5 things that God has given you that you know for sure about you, no matter what anyone says, you know you can sing. You know you can play the piano. You know you can listen and empathize with the. I didn't say sympathize. Sympathy doesn't help anyone. Oh, woe is me and I feel sorry for you, so I'm sympathizing. Sympathy doesn't help. It doesn't. Now, not only do you have one sad person, you got 2. What does help is empathy. Empathy says you have a situation, let's sit down and try to figure out what resources do we have available that we can bring together to help you move through this situation, to help you move through this thing that's binding you up. However, when you decide you're going to hold on to it, you are causing your own destruction. Now, when you go outside, for example, when you go outside and you go for that walk on the beach, you still do go for walks on the beach, don't you? You still do enjoy a nice soft breeze blowing across your face, don't you? You do still enjoy spending time with your husband, your wife, your mate, or just yourself. Where you're sitting down, a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, told me about this technique or something that she uses, coloring. Coloring. She has, don't get it twisted, she has a coloring book. I suggest you try it. Go to CVS or Target or wherever, Walmart, wherever, and buy yourself a coloring book with some crayons and sit down one day by yourself and color. Color. Now, please try to stay in the lines. Or maybe you're the kind of person that wants to color you all over the page. Maybe you do that. But those 5 gifts that you have, let me share something with you. When you use those 5 gifts and you share and you give them, you lend them, you share them with others, then your life changes or begins to change. When is the last time, I know because of the pandemic, but someone that you decided that you just wanted to hug or someone that you just wanted to share a song with? I meet with this group on Monday night, and I'm not a singer, but this group will not allow me to sing. I think they are fearful that I will miss more notes than I hit. But when I'm by myself, I sing. I sing. Maya Angelou wrote a book years back, and some of you may remember it. The title of the book was I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. I know why the cage bird sings, which brings us to the 3rd word, release. Release. After you reflect for a moment, and I suggest you do this in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, spend 5, 10, 15 minutes with yourself. Reflect on those 5 gifts that God has given you. Reflect on them. Reflect on them. Think about how no one can do what you can do. No one, remember, you are a genius. No one can bring to the table what God has gifted you to bring to the table. No one. No one. You're a genius. You are unique. You are marvelously and wonderfully made. We spend so much time being in a hurry, catching up with noise, loving noise, being around crowds, that we don't take the time to be with ourselves and our power source, our God. Spend time with your God, because God is going to reassure you of what your gift gives and where you add to the puzzle. Where you add. So many of us, so many of us are spending time trying to fit in. Even that expression, you got to get in where you fit in. Get in where you fit in. I don't fit. You don't fit in. Fit out. Fit out to what God has given you, an assignment, some strength, an opportunity to be empathetic, to add to someone's life, to be the difference in someone's life. So when you reflect upon how fearfully and wonderfully and marvelously you're made, let me just ask you something. You're so smart. I know you are. I know you are. You're so smart. Tell me how your finger does that. That's all. Simple as that. You break down for me, please, how your finger does that. Tell me. You will discover that there's a process that goes on that gets to the point of where your finger does that. So, when you reflect, you relate. You relate. Relate to your five gifts. Don't relate to the person that cut you off in traffic this morning. Don't relate to that bad coworker that you have that's unkind to you. I had a friend that said every morning she would go to work, her coworker would kick her. Would just kick her because the woman didn't like her. This would kick her. That every morning. Well, one morning it wasn't the morning to kick. And this co-worker just went a step too far and kicked this woman. This woman told me that before she realized it, she looked up and the kicker was flying across the room, knocked into the wall, papers flying everywhere. It wasn't the morning. It wasn't the morning. Another time, a senior citizen who was bedridden pretty much, and this nurse's assistant or CNA went in to help her, and she was not kind to her. The CNA was not kind to the patient because the CNA was in a hurry to get to her next client. I understand. But this particular morning, she ran into this senior citizen, and the senior citizen bopped her in her mouth. Just pop! Slow down. We must find ways and opportunities to slow down. When you go to lunch today, instead of eating your lunch at your desk, because you have so much work to do, instead of eating lunch at your desk, go outside. Go outside, just you. Go outside and eat your sandwich, drink your coffee or whatever it is, and just sit there and be at peace. Enjoy the silence. So you reflect on what God has given you to do. Do you know? Even in your job, and we're winding down here, even in your job, don't look at your job as somebody doing you a favor because they hired you. Remember, you are there because you're solving a problem that they have. That's why you are working. You're there to solve a problem that you have. Whether you work at Sonic, McDonald's, taking orders, filling orders, it does not even matter. You're solving a problem for McDonald's, for Sonic, for Burger King, for whoever, for you're president of your agency, you're the big chief, you're the head person in charge. You're solving a problem. Do not let your position go to your head so that you think you're better than. You, and I can say this because we have distance between us, you are not better than anyone. You are not better because you own the McDonald's. You're not better than the person that dumps the trash for you at the McDonald's that you own. They're solving a problem for you. That's part of that's not even crab mentality. That's that better than, that's that slave holder mentality. That's what the master used to think, that he's better than you and you're better than her because you wear a better suit, drive a nicer car. I heard some of these athletes, some of these people, big ballers, they got a 45, 50,000, 21,000 square feet house with 6 bedrooms, with bathrooms. How many toilets can you sit on at one time? How many beds can you sleep in at one time? How many cars can you drive at one time? It's okay. I'm not judging. I'm just asking you to reflect from when you reflect from a position, reflect from the position that you are there for a purpose. You have a purpose. You're solving a problem for someone. It may be just listening to someone. It just may be listening. It just may be, it could be anything. And the last part, the last word for today is release. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. You're not all of that. You're not, because somebody disrespects you, who are you? What makes you special? Because your name is, when people hear your name, they tremble. Please, come on. Now, I remember seeing famous people, crowds of people gathering around to see somebody get out of a car. Oh, come on now. You're not really a star. You're not all of that. Anyway, I thank you for your time. Let go of the hurry mentality, the seeking noise mentality. They always want to be in the crowd. I'm in with the in crowd. Always want to be in the crowd. And go over to the other side of the ledger. Reflect, relate. How does this connect to you? How does this make you stronger? And release. Release it. That's where your healing comes from. That breath you even take is not your own, it's borrowed. Thank you for your time. Sorry we were a little late. I will see you next week and we'll talk more about those 5 gifts, those 5 talents that you know of a surety are yours. Thank you. Telephone number 240-626-6849. The email heartmindconnection@icloud.com. Heart, H-E-A-R-T, mind, M-I-N-D, connection, C-O-N-N-E-C-T-I-O-N, heartmindconnection@icloud.com. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful remainder of the day. Thank you.